Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be doing the poem The Patriot by Robert Browning. This is a poem that indicates the fickle-mindedness of the people and how you should have your trust in God. So basically, the patriot is this huge countryman who's the huge hero of the country. He's done something incredibly, you can say humongous. Okay, it's a big deal that he's done. The deed that he has done is not given here. Okay, so eventually what happens, he does something in the past, and a year later, a year after he's been, you can say, crowned the hero of his country, people are taking him to the shambles gate, or they are taking him to the place where he'll be hanged to death because of one of the mistakes that he has made. Okay, let's start with the very first stanza of the poem. It was roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. The house roof seemed to heave and sway. The church spires flamed, such flags they had a year ago on this very day. So now the first three stanzas have been written about the past, and the last three stanzas are about the present day. Okay, so in the past, this is right after he has done something incredibly huge for his countrymen. So it was roses, roses all the way. Now this is repetition. Many people mistake it to be alliteration, which is wrong. Okay, you'll not receive marks for that because it's not just a sound that's repeated, it's the whole word that's repeated. You have to write repetition over here. Now there's roses and myrtles mixed in his path, meaning people have strewn his path with flowers. Flowers are a way of indicating celebration in every culture, right? And roses especially indicate love or affection towards a particular person. This shows that his countrymen loved him a lot. Okay, they've strewn these flowers all throughout his path with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. This is alliteration. Myrtle mixed mad, right? So the sound of the letter M has been, you can say, repeated. So this is alliteration. Repetition of words, repetition. Repetition of just a sound, alliteration. Keep that in mind. The house roofs seem to heave and sway. Now the house rooms are said to heave and sway. Heave and sway meaning when you sigh, right? It's basically that your chest rises and falls back. That is called heaving. Okay, and swaying means just moving from one place to the other. It's just like swinging or oscillating about a position. House roofs particularly can't do this. It's a human quality to heave and sway. The house roofs have been personified by saying that they heave and sway. Hence, this is personification. Now, this shows that there are so many people on the house roofs that the house roofs seem to heave and sway. It's basically the people moving around, but it seems like the house roofs are moving. The church spires flamed, such flags they had a year ago on this very day. Now, church spires flaming meaning it's a church spires are flamed, or there's a small fire. In Hindi, you call it a mashal. Okay, that's what they light up when something very great, a huge honorable person is coming, right? Or they are just giving someone a title or something. So this shows that his achievement is very big. Again and again, they're hinting that the achievement is a humongous one. And such flags they had also put up flags everywhere to show what he has done a year ago on this very day, showing the past tense that we are talking about. A year ago, he's talking in the present about something that happened 1 year ago. The air broke into a mist with bells, the old walls rocked with a crowd and cries. Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels, but give me the sun from yonder skies, they'd answered, and afterward, what else? Okay, so now he's saying that the air broke into a mist with bells, meaning the bells were being rung everywhere. Okay, it's basically like they're celebrating. Instead of instruments and everything, they're just bells being rung around. The air is filled with the sounds of bells, and old walls rocked with the crowd and cries. The crowd is such a huge one that the walls are not able to bear the weight. Even people are everywhere. They're on the rooftops. It's like a Victorian era, you can say, a town. Okay, where every house is like they're just built in together. They're stuck. The walls are one after the other, and all the houses are very crumpled up, you can say. So the people are standing on such small house roofs, and everybody's on the house roofs, on the streets. The walls are shaking due to the crowd. That's just a hyperbole, you can say, because walls are not literally shaking. It's just again a personified quality, but not exactly personification. Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels, but give me your sun from yonder skies, they'd answered, and afterward, what else? So, had he said that mere noise repels, meaning your sound is irritating me, they would have immediately stopped making any noise. And had he said, Give me your sun from yonder skies, meaning give me the sun from the far away or distant skies. They'd answered, okay, we'll get that for you, and what do you need after that? Put in more demands, we'll fulfill everything for you. Alack, it was I who leaped to the sun to give it my loving friends to keep. Not man could do have I left undone, and you see my harvest what I reap. This very day now a year is run. So now alack, it's like the expression alas, okay? The sad expression, the expression to say that you're not happy about something bad has happened. It was I who leaped to the sun to give it my loving friends to keep. He's saying that instead of asking people for their son, and instead of asking for huge things, I was the person who had gone to very far away extents to get something, achieve something that was mostly benefiting the people around him. It was benefiting his friends and everything. And not just that, the fame that he receives is shared by his friends and family alike, right? Suppose you win a trophy or something, your parents will be asked, right? You're the parents of the person who has won the trophy. Your brother or sister will be said, oh, your brother won that trophy, right? So it's like the fame is shared by his loving friends and family alike. Not men could do, have I left undone, and you see my harvest what I reap. He said that I have not left anything undone, meaning I have not left any stone unturned to achieve something for my countrymen, for my friends, for my family. And now you see what I've reaped. Reap meaning harvest, and reap meaning the outcomes that he's now getting, right? You can say the kind of repayment that he's getting for his good deeds. This very day now a year is run. So he's saying the present time when I'm narrating the story, now a year has taken place. Exactly a year later, in the present time, I'm reaping something. You'll see what it is in the further stanzas. Okay, so now we are moving to the fourth stanza. From here onwards, we talk about the present times, okay? What's happening a year later after he's been welcomed like a hero, okay? There's nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the window sits, for the best sight is all allow. Okay. There's nobody at the housetops. When he was being welcomed a year ago, everybody was on their rooftops, everybody was welcoming him, cheering on him, right? Now, the current situation is the exact opposite. Nobody's there at the housetops, just a palsied few of the window sets. Only those who could not move around. Palsy means, see, palsy is a disease wherein you can almost say it's like sort of Alzheimer's, but not exactly, okay? People, they can't move around really. They're, very weak. They're just, it's an inability to move around. You can almost say it's worse than Alzheimer's. So just those palsied people who could not move around, only they are at the window sets. They are there to look at the Patriots' walk of shame right now. For the best sight is all allowed at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot I trow. Okay, so now the best sight. Nobody's at the window sets. Only the palsied few at the window sets. Nobody is on there on the rooftops. But where are all those people? Where are they? They are at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot. So shambles gate is where, in earlier times, unlike today where people are hung in closed rooms in a particular cellar, in earlier times criminals used to be hung in the open. Everybody would see the hanging of a gruesome criminal, and being hanged in the open in front of everybody, people waiting to watch you hang, is basically for very heinous crimes. But we don't know what the Patriot has done. You can judge that people consider his crime to be a very heinous one, a very gruesome one. So everybody's waiting at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot. Now, scaffold is kind of the stage, okay, where a raised platform over which you see the hanging happening, where the person will stand and eventually he'll be hanged to death. People are standing at the foot of the stage to look at him being hanged clearly, which tells you that people hate him dearly, right? They're hating him from the bottom of their hearts. I trow, meaning he's walking by the very scaffold's foot. Trow is basically a very sad kind of a walk, a very uninterested walk. Why? Because he's hanged, right? People are hating him right now. I go in the rain, and more than needs, a rope cuts both my wrists behind. And I think by the feel my forehead bleeds, for they fling whoever has a mind stones at me for my years' misdeeds. So he's going in the rain. He's walking in the rain. His hands have been tied behind him, and they have been tied so tightly that the ropes are cutting his wrists, right? The ropes are made out of these not so smooth fibers, cutting, tying it tightly around someone's wrist, it will eventually cut the wrist and the wrist starts to bleed. He even thinks that his forehead is bleeding because everybody is throwing stones at him. You can imagine the amount of hatred. Publicly hanging someone, throwing stones at him, and everybody is enthusiastically waiting over there just to look at him being hanged, meaning everybody hates him a lot. Flinging stones at him, whoever has a mind, meaning anybody who thinks, anybody who has the ability to think, everybody is throwing stones at him for his years' misdeeds. Again, we have not been told what the Patriot's misdeed is. We have just been told that he is being punished for his misdeeds. Thus I entered and thus I go. In triumphs people have dropped down dead. Paid by the world, what dost thou owe? Me, God might question. Now instead, 'tis God shall repay, I am safer so. Now this is a stanza people mostly fail to understand, mostly because of the language and the wordings used over here. Let's dive into this stanza and understand it word by word. Thus I entered and thus I go. Thus means like this, okay? So finally, he entered and he is gone, right? He entered his fame, he entered his peak hours of his life, the peak time of his life, and thus he is leaving, and not just the peak time of his life, but he is leaving his life itself, right? In triumphs people have dropped down dead. So in triumphs, meaning in the peak times of their life, people have dropped down dead immediately. Now this is a reference to a Greek mythological figure, Icarus. Basically, he was trapped in, you can say, a cellar with his father. His father managed to make, now the story varies, okay? Either it's his father managed to make the wax wings, or he was given wax wings by God. He tried to fly close to the sun with the wax wings. He escaped the cellar, right? And then he was in a place where he flies up, there is sun shining, and below him there is the water, the sea, the ocean, whatever it is. So he flies too close to the sun, his wings melt, and he eventually plummets to his death in the water body under him. So it's like he got a chance to be freed from the cellar where he was being held captive. He did not understand the extent of his freedom. He tried to go too close to the sun, even though he knew that it's wax wings and they would melt. He did not keep in mind. He flew too close to the sun, which eventually harmed him. Instead of giving him glory and everything for going close to such a bright thing, he fell to his death because of that one dumb mistake. Similarly, it's showing how the Patriot rose to fame and eventually ended up dying because of 1 year of whatever wrong thing he has done. Paid by the world, what dost thou owe? Now God, when he goes, right, after his death, when it's time for his decision making, whether he'll go to heaven or hell, God will ask him, you have been repaid by the world. You have been, you have even enjoyed your glory. You have been given all the hero welcome, right? Everybody's loved you. And you've also been hated to an extent where you've been publicly executed, and people executed after a walk of shame, throwing stones at you, humiliating you in every way. So now you're even. What do you want me to do? What do you owe to me? Me, God might question. Now he's asking that what he's asking you. I don't owe anything to you. Now instead, I would not like to go to hell or heaven. I would just like to stay with you. I'm safer here because God won't judge him. Like a fickle-minded person. One day you're good, the next day you're bad. You can't judge a person like that. God will be fair to him, and that's what he wants. He says, "This God shall repay. I'm safer." So he says, "I'm safer with the God over here. I'm safer with you, safer than in the live world, the mortal world, where people judge me for, with a fickle-minded approach." So this poem is about the fickle-mindedness of people and, the sudden rise and fall of glory in a person's life, the peak times of a person's life, right? So yeah, this is mostly the gist of the story and the themes of the story. Now this poem includes, where you can say, Shakespearean era words. The one is yonder. Yonder means far away or distant skies, okay? And alack means alas. Not means no, right? Not man could do, it refers to no man could do, meaning he has achieved something that no other person or a living person could do. Harvest or reap basically symbolizes the, you can say, the outcome he has gotten from the people. And yeah, that's mostly all of it. And again, over here you have this meaning this, right? Thou refers to you. So yeah guys, that's it for the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching.